My name is Leela Morgan, and I'm 31 years old. Last week, I sat in a quiet office across from a man in a gray suit who kept adjusting his glasses like the words in front of him refused to stay still. He slid a document toward me, tapped the bottom line, and said, "Whenever you're ready." I didn't pick up the pen. Instead, I laughed. Not politely, not quietly. The kind of laugh that surprises even you, like something inside finally snapped and decided it wasn't going to pretend anymore. The man blinked. "Miss Morgan, are you all right?" I nodded, still smiling, because for the first time in years, I understood something clearly. That piece of paper wasn't taking anything from me. It was exposing everything. Before I tell you what happened in that room, let me take you back, because none of this starts with a lawyer. It starts with a house, a promise, and a version of family that only existed if you never questioned it. I grew up in a small town where people didn't lock their doors, and secrets didn't stay secrets for long. My father, Thomas Morgan, owned a hardware store on Main Street. People trusted him. He remembered names, birthdays, which kind of nails you preferred. My mother, Elise, ran the community center, bake sales, fundraisers, charity drives. She had that soft voice people leaned into, like she was always about to say something important. And then there was my brother, Caleb, 2 years older, golden without trying, the kind of person teachers described as full of potential, even when he didn't do the work. I wasn't the opposite, I was just overlooked. Not ignored completely, just managed. Caleb got encouragement, I got expectations. Caleb got second chances, I got reminders to be responsible. If he forgot something, it was a mistake. If I forgot something, it was a pattern. My father used to say, "Leela, you're the steady one. We don't have to worry about you." And I believed him. I thought being steady meant being valued. It took me years to realize it meant being convenient. By the time I was 18, I had a part-time job, paid my own expenses, and stopped asking for things I already knew the answer to. Caleb, meanwhile, drifted from one idea to another: music, business, photography, each one funded by my parents' patience and money. No one said it outright, but the rules were clear. He was the investment, I was the backup plan. The only place that didn't feel like that was my grandmother's house. It sat at the edge of town, tucked behind a row of old oak trees. White paint, wide porch, wind chimes that never stopped moving. It smelled like cinnamon and old books and something warm I couldn't name. My grandmother, Evelyn, didn't believe in comparing people. "You're not your brother," she'd say, handing me a mug of tea, "and that's not something you need to fix." She taught me how to cook, how to fix a loose hinge, how to sit in silence without feeling like I needed to fill it. When things got too loud at home, I'd go there. She never asked why, she just made space. When I graduated college, she was the only one who showed up early, sat in the front row, clapped the loudest. My parents came late. Caleb didn't come at all. "It's okay," my mom said afterward. "He had something important." I didn't ask what it was. A year later, my grandmother passed away. The house felt different without her, empty in a way that wasn't just about furniture. At the reading of her will, everything went exactly how I expected. The house, my father said afterward, would stay in the family, which meant him, which meant eventually Caleb. "That's just how it works," he told me, and I nodded, because that was always how it worked. Or, at least, that's what I thought. Life moved on. I moved to another town, got a job in logistics, built something stable, quiet, mine. I didn't call home much. They didn't call me either. We existed in that polite distance where nothing is wrong, but nothing is right either. Until 3 weeks ago. An envelope showed up. Not handwritten, not familiar, a law firm's name printed neatly in the corner. I almost didn't open it, but something about it felt intentional. Inside was a letter, formal, precise. My father was preparing to sell my grandmother's house, and they needed my signature. A waiver, a confirmation that I had no claim. I read it twice, then a third time. It wasn't the request that got to me, it was the assumption that I would sign, that I had nothing to say about it, that I didn't matter in the equation. Again. I set the letter down and stared at the kitchen table for a long time. Then I remembered something. A box, back of my closet. I hadn't opened it in years. Inside were a few things from my grandmother's house, recipes, photos, a scarf that still smelled faintly like her, and at the bottom, an envelope, thicker than the others. My name written in her handwriting, for when you need to know. I had never opened it. I told myself it was because I wasn't ready. The truth, I didn't think there was anything in it that could change anything. That night, I opened it. Inside were 2 documents. The first was a legal paper, official, stamped. I didn't understand it immediately, but one phrase stood out, irrevocable trust, and beneath it, my name. The second was a letter, short, simple. Leela, I've watched how things unfold in this family. Not everything is said out loud, but it's always there. This house is yours, I made sure of it, not because you need it more, but because you understand it. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Love, Grandma. I sat there for a long time, not crying, not yet, just absorbing it. She knew. She saw everything I thought had gone unnoticed, and she didn't just see it, she acted on it. The next morning, I made a phone call. By the end of that call, I understood exactly what the document meant, and exactly why my father didn't know about it. He never checked, he never questioned, he assumed, just like he always had. 3 days later, I sat in that office, the document in front of me, the pen within reach, and my father across the table, watching me like this was just another formality. "Let's not make this complicated," he said. I looked at him, really looked. Same tone, same certainty, like the outcome had already been decided. I leaned back in my chair. "Before I sign anything, I have a question." He sighed slightly. "What is it?" "Why didn't you tell me about the sale?" A pause, small, controlled. "We assumed you wouldn't be interested." "Of course." I nodded slowly. Then I reached into my bag and placed the document on the table. Everything changed after that. My father didn't touch the paper at first. He just looked at it, then at me, then back at it again, like maybe if he waited long enough, it would turn into something else. "What is this?" he asked. His voice was still calm, but there was something under it now. Not anger, not yet. Something thinner. Uncertainty. "It's a trust," I said, "created by Grandma, filed years before she passed." The lawyer across from us leaned forward. He didn't ask permission, he just pulled the document closer and started reading. Page 1. Page 2. His expression didn't change much, but his posture did. Straighter, more careful. My father finally reached out and picked up the top page. His eyes moved faster than the lawyer's had, like he was trying to outrun the meaning. "That's not possible," he said. "The house was part of her estate." "It wasn't," I replied. Silence settled into the room. Not empty silence, heavy silence, the kind that presses against your chest. The lawyer cleared his throat. "Mr. Morgan," he said carefully, If this document is valid, and it appears to be, then the property would have been transferred into the trust prior to your mother's passing. That means it wouldn't have gone through probate. My father looked at him, then back at me. No, he said again, but this time it sounded less like a statement and more like a request. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just opened the folder and slid the rest of the documents forward. Certified copies, filing records, everything in order. You can check the county records, I said. It's all there. The lawyer adjusted his glasses again and picked up another page. He read slower this time, more deliberately. Beneficiary, he murmured under his breath. Then he stopped, looked up. At me. Lila Morgan, he read aloud. My name sounded different in that room. Not like an afterthought, not like something attached to someone else. Just mine. My father's chair scraped slightly as he shifted. His hand tightened around the paper. She wouldn't do that, he said. She wouldn't go behind my back. I held his gaze. She didn't go behind your back, I said quietly. She made a decision. For you? For what she believed was right. That hit harder than anything else I'd said. I could see it. Because this wasn't about the house anymore. It was about control, about certainty, about a version of the world where he was always the one making the final call. And for the first time, he wasn't. The lawyer set the documents down very carefully, like they had weight beyond paper. I'm going to need to verify this formally, he said, but if everything checks out— He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. The quitclaim deed sitting in front of me suddenly looked irrelevant. My father leaned back in his chair. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then he exhaled slowly. This changes things, he muttered. It clarifies things, I corrected. He looked at me sharply, like he wasn't used to being interrupted. Lila, he said, tone tightening, you don't understand the situation. I almost smiled. I understand it perfectly. He shook his head. That house is not yours to sell, I finished. The words didn't come out harsh. They didn't need to. They were simple, final. The lawyer shifted in his seat. He thinks it's best we pause here, he said. There are legal implications we need to review before moving forward. My father ignored him. His attention was locked on me now. You're really going to do this? He asked. Do what? Hold on to a house you don't even use while your family— He stopped himself, then corrected, while we are dealing with real problems. There it was. Not an apology, not an acknowledgement, a justification. I folded my hands on the table. You didn't call me when you decided to sell it. You didn't ask what I wanted. We assumed— I know what you assumed. He went quiet. For a second, I thought he might say something different, something honest. He didn't. Your brother is struggling, he said instead. I let that sit in the air between us. How many times? I asked. He frowned. What? How many times has he needed to get back on his feet? That's not the point. It is the point. My voice was still calm, still steady. He gets chances, over and over again, and every time something else gets risked to support him. This is family, my father snapped. I nodded. Yes, it is. That was when something shifted. Not in him, in me. Because I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I was clear. There's a difference. Anger reacts. Clarity decides. The lawyer stood up slightly, like he wanted to say something. It's fine, I said. I looked back at my father. I'm not selling the house. The words landed clean, no hesitation, no apology attached to them. His jaw tightened. "You're being selfish." Maybe once that would have worked. Maybe once I would have folded, but not now. "I'm being responsible." For what? For what she trusted me with. Silence again. Longer this time. My father looked down at the documents, then back at me. "You think this makes you right?" he asked. "No," I said. "I think it makes things clear." The lawyer gathered the papers slowly, like he was trying not to disturb whatever had just happened in that room. "I'm going to be in touch once I verify everything," he said, already halfway to the door. But the meeting was over. Everyone in that room knew it. The decision had already been made. I stood up, picked up my bag, and slid the trust documents back inside. The quitclaim deeds stayed on the table, unsigned, useless. My father didn't move. As I turned toward the door, he spoke again. "Lila." I stopped. Not because of the tone, because of the name. He hadn't said it like that in years. Not sharp, not dismissive, just my name. I looked back. For a moment, he didn't look like the man from 5 minutes ago. He looked tired, older than I remembered. "This isn't over," he said. I nodded slightly. "It doesn't have to be." And then I left. The air outside felt different, lighter somehow. Not because everything was fixed, but because something inside me was. I sat in my car for a few minutes, hands resting on the steering wheel, just breathing. No shaking, no second guessing, just quiet. That evening, I drove out to my grandmother's house. I hadn't been there in a long time. The paint was a little faded. The wind chimes still moved in the same slow rhythm. The door opened with the same familiar creak. Inside, it smelled exactly the same. I walked through each room slowly, like I was reintroducing myself to a place that had never really left me. Nothing had changed, and yet everything had. I stepped out on the porch and sat on the old wooden chair she used to claim as hers. The sun was starting to set. Soft light, quiet air. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was standing outside of something. I felt like I belonged exactly where I was. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message. My brother. "I didn't know about the trust. Dad said you'd sign. I'm sorry." I read it once, then again. I didn't reply right away. Not because I didn't care, but because I understood something now. Not every message needs an immediate answer. Not every relationship fixes itself in one moment. Some things take time. Some things take truth. And some things just take distance. I slipped the phone back in my pocket and leaned back in the chair. The wind moved softly through the trees. For years, I thought strength meant staying, enduring, adjusting yourself to fit what other people needed. Now I knew better. Strength is knowing when to stop adjusting, when to stand still, when to say, "This is mine, this matters, and I'm not going to give it away just because it's easier for everyone else." My name is Lila Morgan. I'm 31 years old. A week ago, someone put a piece of paper in front of me and expected me to sign my place away without question. I didn't sign it, because someone, a long time ago, made sure I would never have to.